Hi everyone, this is John Cawley at Plant-Based Life, here with another one of our videos. And the purpose of this video is to talk about music. Another passion of mine and something that's close to my heart. Okay, so it's something that I've been involved with a long time. So those of you who've got to know me through Plant-Based Life and know me as a personal trainer, Pilates instructor, talking about health, wellness, nutrition and all these wonderful things, wouldn't know this part about me, but I've also been a DJ, still am a DJ, have been for over 30 odd years. Yeah, giving away my age there. I do talk about my age a lot anyway, so you guys would know anyway. So I'm in my 49th year, I'll be 50 this year. But yeah, look, essentially, yeah, the reason this came about, and I wanted to talk about the music, is to really talk about music in relation to health, wellness, well-being, you know, your outlook, everything, because there's a massive connection. And I did a special guest spot on Bondi Beach Radio last Wednesday, and on that radio show, you know, we spoke about the importance of music, and we were talking a lot about, you know, plant-based life, what I do with this, what I've done with my other company, Funkified, as a DJ and a promoter in the music industry. You know, I've toured international acts and worked with a lot of big names in the soul, funk, hip hop, you know, arena, and supported them and all kinds. So yeah, I've been involved in that side of my passion for a long time as well. So it's good to combine them, you know, and talk about, you know, the importance of music in other ways. And we did touch on this a little bit in the interview on Bondi Beach Radio, which is what got me thinking about doing this particular video. So I'm going to delve into it. Okay, so now one thing I've become aware of in recent years is how a lot of, you know, what we do or what we read, what we watch on the news, is all programmed, right, for us to believe and think a certain way. You know, there's a lot of fear mongering in regards to certain things that could happen to us all through the news. Makes us think a certain way. Okay, newspapers, again, I don't read any of them. I don't have a TV anymore. I decided to do this a few years ago, you know. Although Facebook, I use it for business, but it has become another place where you can get distracted and start reading and watching things that aren't particularly beneficial for you, and can also be a form of programming. So yeah, I've gone from one medium, TV, that's gone to another one. But you know, I still do use medium as a very, use Facebook as a very powerful tool to promote with businesses as well. So you know, there's pluses and minuses to all things, right? But in regards to music, now the people who, you know, own a lot of the media companies, who own a lot of the you know, food companies, who own major corporations around the world, they also own a lot of the music industry, right? All the record companies and everything else. And one thing you'll notice, and if you've been following music like I have for a long time, back in the, you know, 60s, 70s, a lot of the music was very socially, politically conscious, very uplifting, you know, very much about improving the well-being of others, and you know, love and peace, and you know, bringing people together. The music was amazing when you think of people like Marvin Gaye, Curtis Mayfield, Stevie Wonder. Yeah, and I'm just talking in the soul and, you know, funk kind of genres. Jazz is phenomenal. You know, we could talk about it all day, right? But many genres back in those days were putting out, you know, very uplifting music. I mean, even, you know, people like Bob Dylan, who a folk artist, and you know, there was other rock artists and people, you know, putting out a really positive message that got to the mainstream. It actually got into the charts, you know, and people got to hear this very positive music, which has an amazing benefits for people to listen to positive music, you know, like with a positive message, right? But the powers that be, they learned that, hang on a minute, you know, if we can put music out there in the top 40 that's portraying a very negative image, or it's talking about products that we might want, you know, to promote, or it's, you know, like basically there's a purpose behind everything, unfortunately, that's put out, you know. And this might sound like conspiracy theory talking, but it isn't, honestly. Look into it a bit deeper. You know, music vibrates on a certain frequency, so not just the conscious content of the music and the lyrics, how well it's put together and everything else. There's a frequency that music, you know, will work on as well, and certain frequencies have been found through scientific research to have a positive impact on your on your neural pathways, on your brain, on how you think, the mood, your mood, everything, So there is that as well, So different types of music can have a really positive effect on you as well. But this programming of music, because when you look at the charts now, what gets in the top 40, I don't look at it, actually. I refuse to, because the vast majority of it is terrible, and I'm not saying that I don't mean that in a bad way, in that terrible, in that, look, don't get me wrong, some of the people making that music could be extremely talented people, and they've got a gift for what they do, and good luck to them. And I'm not saying that everything that gets in the charts is terrible, but I will say, look through all the records, look at a lot of the subject matter, what they're talking about, what they're exposing their children to, compare it to the depth and of lyrics, and knowledge and the message that was coming out in music back in the 70s and 60s. And in all honesty, it's a different thing, Now, in relation to the fitness and wellness component and the connection to music and that, well, all this manufactured music with the negative, images and it's talking about sex and, whatever, fighting and violence and, just putting out like this really negative view of people being jealous of other people for certain things, or wanting to look a certain way, or ego and having big cars. You see a lot of music about big cars. I mean, a prime example of where the industry really took a particular genre of music and really used it for their gain to put out a negative image is hip hop, right? I love hip hop. I grew up listening to hip hop. Hip hop is a socially conscious form of music that has transformed this planet and has been spread around the world, and conscious hip hop is amazing. There's so many artists out there doing it on a worldwide level that it's phenomenal. But hip hop got a really bad reputation because when the whole gangster rap element came to it, which was exposing what was going on, in South Central LA and other parts of America, right? That was showing you what these people have to live with on a daily basis, because that's why it came about initially. It was young people in their environment using hip hop as a medium to get out to the masses what they had to live through on a daily basis, right? And that is still conscious as well. It might be talking about something that may be deemed as negative, but they were just relaying their experience where they live, right? But what happened was, the media and the corporate companies, they got hold of this. They wanted to portray hip-hop in a negative image. They wanted, young African American and Hispanic people that were doing this music to be seen in a negative light by the masses. They really do, there's a system in place for why they do certain things, right? And so when they could get more records of people, we're not just talking about that, because there's a difference between talking about coming from the street type lifestyle and just highlighting what they have to live with, because that's a very important thing to do. That's making people conscious of a situation that we may not have otherwise known about and been able to do something about, right? But when it's glorifying that violence, glorifying drugs and glorifying, like sex and whatever else, and boasting about how much money and how much cars you got and all this, well, that's got a negative connotation to it. That's not going to benefit young people who see that and anyone else. But the media knew this, and they wanted to portray this particular genre of music in a negative light. So that's what they did. And if you looked at all the hip hop that went into the top, not all of it, look, don't get me wrong, there's some excellent hip hop that got into the top in the charts, But the vast majority of it, and now the stuff, honestly, it's just not good. And the one thing I will say, it's not because there's a shortage of artists out there putting out socially conscious and uplifting music, because that isn't the case, right? There's a lot of them worldwide, all over this planet. Hip-hop is spread all over the planet, and not just in hip-hop, in soul, in funk, in other genres of music, like, folk, rock, whatever, Honestly, jazz is an amazing, as I say, if I got talking on the subject of jazz, and we had that, back in the day, that the social, you know, and justice and movement and everything that was tied around jazz and soul and funk and all those genres, you know, we could talk about this forever, you know, and there's subjects I love talking about, but I don't have that time. I knew this was going to be a long video. It's probably going to, you know, it's going to go a bit longer because I'm going to talk about a few other things briefly. But look, this is a point I just want to talk about, because we talked about it in the radio show I did last week, and I thought this is an important thing to talk about. You know, now in regards to exercise and health, wellness and fitness, well, when you go into the gyms that everyone trains in, the average trains, all this music is blaring out everywhere, the negative vibe and all that. I want to change that. When I finally open up my own studio and I have my own gym, you know, I mean, for me, music is only for certain types of exercise anyway, more the high tempo type of exercise, you know, if you're doing weight training, you listen, yeah, that can pump you up, you know, good. But it's got to be good, conscious, uplifting music, you know. Obviously, if you're doing a stretch class or yoga, I don't really like music in Pilates classes, I'll be honest, even though I'm a Pilates instructor. I do it at some of the places I teach because people want it. But I prefer to, you know, do a class where it's more focused on the instructor, like myself or whoever's doing it, giving clear instruction and making sure they can communicate with the individuals in the class, you know, and get good results for them. But I love music, but I think music has a time and place for all modalities of exercise. But when it comes to high intensity stuff and group stuff in that environment, and music's good, but again, I want it to be conscious music that vibrates on that frequency, that improves your well-being, makes you feel better as a person. Music can actually make you healthier, right? You know what I mean? The right music at the right level, at the right time, with the right message, it will make you healthier, you know. So music is a very powerful thing, and it's been used for many years as a form of communication. You know, it goes way back, you know, and we spoke on this briefly on the show, Bondi Beach Radio. But you know, look, we all as people, we all originate, you know, it's been scientifically proven, we all originate from Africa, right? So that is the proof. That's where humans evolved from, you know, that's where humans started, you know. There are other people, you know, like that. There's the longest living, you know, continuous race, or, you know, of people are the Aboriginal people in Australia continuously. But when you want to look back to where we all came from, we all came from Africa, you know. We've been traced back, I believe, to a small village in South Africa. That's the last DNA testing they did, where humans, they believe the first humans originated from. And in regards to that, it's where music came from, you know. So we're all one, we're all connected by the beat of the drum, and the drum came out of Africa, right? It was invented in Africa. It was a form of communication which went on, you know, tribal drumming and whatever else, communication. It became music, and, you know, and now obviously that music's worldwide. Another thing I would mention as well, you know, classical music is an interesting one, because, you know, people say, well, you know, it was all Europeans, it was Beethoven and Mozart and all these guys that invented that. But actually the Moors, who came from Africa, they came from far North Africa, who came across the hills of Himalayas into Europe in the early, I think, around about 12, 13, 1400 centuries, yeah, around about that time. Well, there's written evidence that they invented classical music as we know it, and these European composers, you know, got it from them. So there you go. I don't know if you all know that, but yeah. So but again, a lot of people say classical music vibrates on that frequency that's good for you. I've never really resonated fully with classical, I've got to be honest. I love jazz music, and I love like soul, funk, hip hop, reggae, disco, all that, you know. So, but yeah, look, I wanted to do this video because I wanted people to understand where music comes into your whole health, well-being, you know, connection and fitness. It's a very important part, you know, and just life in general, really. But you've got to keep it conscious, you know, uplifting, you know, make you feel good, vibrate on that correct frequency, you know, make everybody feel at one. You know, that's what music's for. You know, music is for bringing us all together. It transcends language barriers, it transcends cultures, it transcends traditions. It brings us all together. We need it everywhere, you know. It's music's a beautiful thing, right? And there's lots of different types of music because there's lots of different types of people, right? So I've got particular genres that I like, but everyone's free and welcome to like whatever music they want. But just make sure it's vibrating on that positive frequency, you know. I mean, I have heard a lot of sort of heavy metal and music like that, and you know, and a lot of the banging techno, the top end techno and all that, I just, to me, doesn't sound like music. Look, some people love it, right? So I'm not here to criticise, you know. Everyone's free to listen to whatever music they want, but you know, listen to as much that's on a positive frequency and a positive like message and frequency and vibration as you can, and I believe that will improve the quality and well-being of your overall life. So yeah, I wanted to do this video, so I'm kind of combining my history as a DJ and, you know, the music scene with my current, you know, thing, plant-based life, movement, you know, wellness, mind-body connection. It's all connected at the end of the day. Music is a very powerful component in all of that, and I want to see us get more positive music out there to the masses, and I'm going to be looking at ways to do that in the future. You know, I have been involved in doing music events in the past. I don't do them much these days. I do smaller things, you know, but fitness, wellness, this is what I do. This is my passion. This is my life now. You know, plant-based nutrition, teaching Pilates, teaching people how to move, you know, working with people with disabilities. This is all my passion, but music is still a big part of me, always will be, and I am going to look at ways of bringing it all together. So watch this space, because I'm going to look at ways to make nice events that are all about your health and well-being, with some positive music that vibrates on a very nice frequency. Okay, peace, movement and plants.